In this very quick video, I'm going to show you the process of how you can import doodles into the software, and then we can look at converting the doodles into vectors that we can then use to create our own wood blocks in order for us to make some stamps. So simply import an image. So here I've took a photo of my doodles and I've imported that in, and then we just use the trace tool to trace that. We're going to set that to black and white, just up the noise filter, preview that, and we can see those vectors there. Happy with that, so we can close out. So now that we've got our vectors, we're just going to undraw the bitmap layer. We can see each one of those motifs there. With each one, I'm just going to drag and select all the vectors and then press G on the keyboard to group them so that they're in their own grouped entities, which I can then move around my job space just to create some kind of layout. So next up, we need to create some boundaries for where we're going to be actually machining the motif to a shape. So we're going to go with a circle shape. And we're just going to draw a circle that's roughly a little bit larger than the motif itself. And then with that circle, we're going to take it and we're going to offset it. We're going to offset it outwards by 1/4 of an inch to create a secondary border. And we're going to use these two vectors as part of our machining, which will make more sense when we come to the toolpath side of things. So I'm just going to take those two circles and holding down Control whilst dragging the vector, I can create copies. I'll place them around the other 3 motifs as well. And so we're just going to use the arrow keys just to nudge each stamp into place, just to create nice layout so they're not overlapping each other. Just by drag selecting those vectors and then just using the arrow keys to move them. Now where we've got words, so stay at home and stay strong, we must remember to flip those entities horizontally, so that when we come to machine our part and then ink up the stamp, it stamps in the correct orientation. So to do that, go in the mirror tool and just simply press flip horizontal. Okay, so that's pretty much the stamps all ready to go, so we can move over to the Toolpaths tab. As always, check over your material setup. Now to machine this, we're going to use the VCarve toolpath. So we're going to select all of the motifs along with the outer vector. And what we're going to do is we're going to machine in between the motif and the outer circle using the VCarve toolpath. We're going to do 2 tools here. We're going to machine down to a flat depth. We're going to put in a flat depth of 0.1. And we're going to use 2 tools, a V-bit tool as well as a clearance tool. So the V-bit tool we're going to choose is going to be a 90-degree 1/2 inch V-bit. That's going to enable us to create all of the sharp areas to get the detail out of the stamp. And to clear it, we're going to look at using an end mill. So we're going to use the clearance tools. We'll select a tool from the tool database, in which case we are going to look at using the 1/8 inch end mill. And what will happen is we'll run this toolpath first to clear out the majority of the material, and then afterwards would then run the VCarve part of our toolpath. So here's what I mean. So clearance, so that's using the end mill to clear the majority of that out, followed by the VCarve toolpath, which uses the V-bit tool to get in all of the detail. All we need to do now is run some profile toolpaths just to cut the stamps out. So that's where we're going to use the other circle vectors. So if we select each one of those by holding Shift to multi-select into the profile toolpath, we're going to cut all the way through. So Z equals will pull out your material thickness here. Select the tool, in which case I am going to use the 1/4 inch end mill. OK that, and then we can simply just go ahead, give that a name, and then press calculate. Okay, so previewing that will just take that will just cut that out of the material. We can double click on the waste material just to remove that from our preview, and these are what our stamps would look like. To make it easier to see, if you go to the toolpath colour for the VCarve toolpath, we can change that colour to white just by using the selection there, and that will give us a good idea of how those stamps will actually look. So there we have a nice simple little project that you can work with. Now if you wanted more in-depth information of how to create wood blocks, then simply head over to vectric.com, and then on the web page, if you go to Vectric Community, Free Projects, and then go to the In Labs Projects section, and then in here, if we just scroll through the projects, I created a video last year or the year before, artwork print block, and in here I talk into much more detail as how to create a wood block, so you can take a look at that video as well as log in to your V&Co account where you can download the project files for this project from here. Now in terms of this project, we are making this live, so that will appear in your V&Co account, and I am also doing a live Q&A on our Instagram page on Thursday, 3 p.m. UK time, so please get your questions in about this project or anything else that you have, and I'd be happy to help out there. So thank you for watching, happy making, stay safe everyone.